against a wall because a man is more likely to be sexually assaulted than to be falsely accused of being sexually assaulted. However, and so at that point you just want to be like, I don't even want to talk about this because it's such a stupid thing to talk about. But it looms so large for men. And it looms so large for women who have sons too. I'd say like, this is one of those things that people don't want to talk about though, that you talk about in private. And I've done a lot of these talks since my book came out, and in private, and men and women will say that like their sons are going off to university and they're like, I'm gonna real talk to you, like I'm nervous about this. And I know I shouldn't be, but I am. And men say, this is so great, I want to be an ally. I am nervous though about being falsely accused. And okay, so why is that? Why are men so afraid of this false accusation thing? I mean, I think there's a couple of reasons. One is that we don't talk about it. So we can't ask the questions that are difficult and talk through where this gap is between what the stats show and what reality is. I think the other thing, and this is controversial, is consent is much more complicated than how we want to talk about it. What we want to say is consent is black and white. It's no means no. That's consent. It's yes means yes. Maybe means no. Done. No one like talks through sex that way. Like that's just it's. I went to a trainee. I went to a Frosh week at Queen's University and sat in on the consent training that they did, basically. And it's by this like awesome woman, Farah Khan. Some of you may know her. She's this like awesome educator in Toronto. And she frames the consent discussion around pleasure, which is groundbreaking, obvious kind of situation. Let's frame consent around like the bar is don't get arrested, and let's move it to being a good sexual partner. So that's a big thing, is like reframing it in that way. Revelatory, like, right?
Yeah, but it is, because it's always framed as that negative.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so this is how not to get arrested, guys. But the other thing was, I talked, and she does lots of really cool things, and I won't get into it. I do write about it. You're all getting a book, so you can read this later. But I turned to the first years behind me afterwards, and I asked them, so what do you guys think about consent? We just sat through this training. What do you think? And they're like, oh yeah, consent. They all could rhyme off the legal definition of consent very easily. There's a video, consent, simple as tea. Have you seen it? It's like some stick figures, and it's like, if you would like some tea, you can ask for some tea, and someone can pour you some tea, and that's great. And what if you ask for some tea and then you change your mind? We can't pour tea down your throat, that'd be silly. And it's like, oh yeah, it's super obvious. But again, no one is communicating that way. And they'd all seen the tea video several times. And then I asked them, how do you, so what does this mean in your actual life? Are you having sex this way? They're like, oh my God, no, that would be insane. Like, that would be a insane thing to do. So what we know is that people negotiate sex through body language, and there is a lot of research that suggests that people are not good at reading each other's body language. And there is a lot of research that suggests that men are more likely to interpret a situation as sexual than a woman. And there is a lot of research that shows that the brain wants to see what it wants to see. And there's research that shows that alcohol messes all of this up. So when you put all these things together, there's also research, by the way, that shows that men are perfectly good at interpreting body language. So I do want to issue that.
And you write about that very clearly.
And I do write about that. But like, I am persuaded to think that there is a lot of research that suggests that we are creating this kind of perfect storm of talking about consent in a very simplified way, when a lot of research and science shows that it's not simple. And so don't misquote me, I'm not suggesting that the serial predators out there are confused. There is also research that shows that some predators know that consent is very complicated and they will exploit that. But I do think that in a lot of situations, if you, after a sexual assault allegation is made, if you hooked one person up to a lie detector test and the other person up to a lie detector test, they both would pass. And I think that that is maybe what's creating some of this fear of false accusations, is that we're not talking about consent properly, men don't know how to talk about it, women don't know how to talk about it, non-binary people don't know how to talk about it, no one knows how to talk about it, and our solution is to not talk about it.